Hello, I am Sentimus Prime, and I am excited for this unboxing. Uh, he, so here, of course, I will be unboxing the Transformers Age of the Primes Voyager class Sky-Bytes. So, starting off, we will take a good look at the packaging. So on the front, we do get a nice window display of the figure inside, as well as this accessories off to the sides right there, as well as more accessories that are not immediately obvious. But yeah, very nice. Up here at this corner, you do get this little thing up here. You got yeah, again, you got the recommended age, there's more than meets the eye thing, and the number of steps that it takes to transform the figure. Over here on this side, let's raise the camera a bit so you can get a good look at that. Here you have really nice artwork for both the robot and the shark mode for Sky-Byte. It looks really good. And down here, you do get the Transformers logo. You do get Age of the Primes written down there. The Hasbro logo and the Sky-Byte, as well as the Decepticon logo. Looking good, very nice. Up here, not much going on up here. You do get Takara, the Takara Tomy logo up here, as well as Sky-Byte's name and faction up here again, which, as I found, uh, proven to be kind of convenient. Like when you have a bunch of like a bunch of different Voyager class figures in more or less the same packaging, like all lined up front to back and on a Walmart shelf. The names up here do make it kind of that much more convenient. That's a nice thing. It's simple but nice. Simple but effective. Over here on this side, you get Transformers Age of the Primes. You do get Voyager class written down there. So up here we do have all R1 up there, as well as some nice box art here off to the side, showing off a portion of the 13 primes. And of course that looks pretty good. And a side note, we did actually get a look at the upcoming figures for Amalgamus Prime and Quintus Prime, and note these sort of art designs here off that you do see them here. They do not look their figures look kind of like that, but these are more sort of weird, like you can definitely tell that there has been some design changes uh, throughout that, but that is so interesting, which is kind of interesting. Over here on this side, you do get a nice close up to Sky-Byte's robot mode box art, looking really good. That looks impressive. And down here you do get Sky-Byte's name, Transformers, and the logo thing down there. And here you have the bottom of the box, not much going on down there. And here we have the back of the packaging. Down here, not much going on down here. Got the Hasbro logo and the more than meets the eye thing. But up here, we do get nice render shots of Sky-Byte's figure in both his robot mode and his shark mode, as well as the number of steps it takes to transform him, as well as this uh, little like demonstration sort of illustration like render shot here, showing off like what you can do with some of the accessories, showing off some of the features. And of course, Sky-Byte's name up here again. And yeah, with that, here, and with that, I have, and with, you know, and yeah, with that, I have said all I need to say, all that I need to say with the, uh, with the packaging, and now let's go ahead and move on to the actual unboxing itself. So piece of tape right here. You can easily just cut that with an X-Acto blade. Opening this up. All right. You get like this random like piece of like you get like this piece of paper that like seemingly every single Transformer figure comes with now. So that off, probably toss that. Here we do get the instructions. We do get the instructions for Sky-Byte. And they do flip out in a okay manner. They do take up a bit of space, but it's not too bad. Like, alright. That's fine. That's fine. That's all well and good. Is there anything else? Well, that's it with the box, so we can set that off to the side. So now, let's move on to this. Look at that. That's looking nice. Let's go ahead and get him out of this box of this tray. Starting off with the accessories, of course. So let's start off with this small gun thing right here. Let's cut that out. Here we have his like weapon, his like gun weapon missile launcher thing. Okay. So there's that. Do for to. Okay. Moving on to these accessories. So let's go ahead and check those out. Here we have two of these like shark panels. Like you got these like well detailed like shark panel things here. That's looking pretty good. That's nice. Alright. Up next, we do get the last set of we do get the we do have one more thing in here that does need to be taken out of its twist tie prison, out of its plastic tie prison. And here we have this thing. This is so weird. Look at that. Need I mind you, this is like one of the like more recent like Voyager Transformers. and yet he, and yet his and yet he comes with this as one of his accessories. He comes with a pair of fins still on a sprue. That is so weird. Good thing I have my cutters. I'll cut them out later. I'll cut them out at some point. But that is so weird. That is kind of weird. But with that, let's go ahead and move on to the figure himself. So getting that cut out, getting that cut. Boom. Anything else that needs to be cut? Okay, this arm. He seems to be like really like packaged up and does seem to have a lot of these like annoying little plastic ties. But after cutting all those out, we can of course lift up his kibble and move a couple like cardboard flaps so we can pull his figure out and move, and of course we can move this off to the side so we can take a look at Sky-Bytes. Look at that. His legs tabbing. That is looking really good. Look at that. It's Sky-Bytes. A rather noteworthy character. Look at that. That is cool. That is cool. Oh, give me a quick, if you can give me a quick little second. Alright, there we go. I cut the shark fin pieces out of the sprue, so we can of course set this off to the side and go look at those now that they're off the sprue. And you can tell that these are two like differently sculpted, differently molded shark fins. You can tell that you can tell that they're not identical. That is interesting. That is pretty interesting. Like, that is pretty cool. Yeah, with that, we have his accessories. So now, of course, let's go ahead and plug them somewhere. I guess I plug this one into this. For now, I don't know if I'm doing this correctly. I'm not sure if I'm doing that exactly correctly, but at the very least, for now, I'll plug those there. And flipping this up for a second, I do know that this is supposed to be plugged into the roof of the shark mouth. So I believe like this is supposed to slot into those um, slots right there, into those tabs right there. So like that. Okay. Oh, I feel like that works. For this, there are obviously tabs, and I do feel like they should plug into there. So plugging those into there, flipping that down. That's a little bit more loose than I would personally like that to be, but still not too bad. I believe as long as these panels are like sandwiched over it, as long as it's like sandwiched there, it's not too big of a deal. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. And then finally, the last but not leastly, we have these large panel things which are supposed to be plugged, which I believe are supposed to be plugged into onto these things in the back. So I believe this one is supposed to be plugged onto this shoulder, and this shoulder to be this panel to be plugged into this side. And okay, yeah, whew, thankfully these uh I have seen I have seen a lot of I have seen like this figure reviewed a lot on YouTube, and from most of the stuff that I've seen, they had like these like shoulder panels thing being like way too loose and always like having them flap down like that. Thankfully, that is not the case with this copy, though I am having like though like though I am having like other like less significant things being way too loose. Like this part is admittedly looser than I'd like it to be, but regardless, it's more or less not as significant. It's less significant, I feel, but we have like, of course, we can like flip this panel up. Well, actually, we can flip these out because it's a robot mode. And look at that. That is really cool. That is really nice. Oh wow, that's really cool. I am very pleased with this. That is that's real nice. And yeah, and that is it with the unboxing portion of this. Like, I'm still like testing like tolerances and like joint tolerances and stuff. For the most part, yeah, most of it feels pretty good. I will say that most of it feels perfectly fine. The only thing on my copy that seems to be off is like the is like this sort of transformation hinge like back here, but th- but thankfully that is not the worst like joint to fail here. That's obviously I'd obviously rather have this be too loose than say having one of these shoulder panels being too loose. So I am thankful with that. Overall, joint like tolerances and stuff feel well, to be honest, they feel pretty good. Nothing feels, like aside from that one transformation hinge, which is admittedly not too big, doesn't not too big of a deal. With aside from that, it feels all right. Very nice. Joints feel nice. Joints feel good. All right. And in terms of the unboxing experience, like I am honestly like kind of like sort of surprised with this one. Like, yeah, like I have not had a like it is such a weird feeling having like a Transformer figure like this being packaged with accessories that are packaged on a sprue. I haven't had that happen with any other modern figure. I'm sure that they were a common occurrence with way older Transformer figures, but like I didn't start like actually like collecting Transformer figures until like way later on. So like that is oh that okay, yeah, that joint there kind of feels tighter than I would like that to be. Well, overall, like the joints feel nice. They got like one joint that feels a little bit tighter, that feels a bit tighter than I would like it to be, and as well as one like transformation hinge piece that feels looser than I would like it to be. That's like just straight up loose. But overall, I am very pleased with this unboxing. And my goodness, this figure is such an interesting sight for eyes, isn't it? Isn't he? That is such an interesting figure. That yeah, that looks pretty. That looks sick. Not gonna lie, that looks sick. Man, I am honestly very pleased I got this, and overall, I am very pleased with this first impression. This figure is leaving a very good first impression on me. Yeah, I honestly like cannot wait to get into like messing around and playing around with this figure and eventually doing a review on this figure and letting you know my full thoughts on this figure as a whole. But until then, I think that'll be it for this video. If you enjoyed this unboxing, consider to like and subscribe and maybe even comment if you like. And of course, I will be posting again sooner or later.